Hello everybody, my name is Ben Meijer and this video is an introduction to the layers of the glasses. I'd like to elaborate about 4 different layers of the glasses. Now, as you may already know the expression, we see the world not as the world is, but as we are, or if you may have heard this from the Bible, in which place in the Bible it's referred to in 2 places, Luke 6:41 and Matthew 7:4. Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the plank in your own eye? In different translations, of course, it's a speck, a splint, or a mote, and on the other side, it's a beam, a log, or a plank. Now, please notice that the speck is much smaller and the beam or the log in your own eye is much bigger. So we're talking about layers of the glasses that we somehow have on, and they color or cloud or obscure our view of the world. Now, like I said, we're going to be talking about 4 layers, and the 4 layers are emotions. Second layer is about needs and desires. The third layer is about loyalty, which you could say is also related to the second layer, the needs and desires. And the fourth layer is all about beliefs, convictions, and that includes culture and religion and other things that determine our worldview. All right, let's start with the beginning, emotions. When I was much younger, my first girlfriend, she asked me at a certain point, "Do you want to have kids?" And I said, and it was a very visceral reaction, I said, "No." What happened then that split second was I remembered my own childhood and a lot of pain came up. This pain and grief and sadness made me absolutely say, no way. There is no way I want to do that to any small child. I mean, have any small child experience what I had experienced as a child. At that moment, my own emotion, my own traumas, colored my perception, and of course, completely didn't leave anything up to her side of the story. Now, a number of years later, I'd had some therapy, and at a certain point, I had another girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, and of course, at a certain point, the question about children came up again. And after the therapy, and with the question coming up this time, I noticed something quite different. I noticed no reaction coming up. It was just open. Open in the sense of there was a possibility. It was just, okay, do I want this? Do I not want this? There was room to think, the room to choose, room to look at the question. Of course, that's a big difference in the experiencing of this matter. All right. The next layer I'd like to talk about is the layer of needs and desires. Now, it's easier to talk about the emotions, but needs and desires are very visceral. They come out very strongly and very subconsciously a lot of the time. And every one of us has a number of these needs. The first, starting at birth, we are born completely dependent and needy and insecure and needing safety and everything. And if everything goes right, we grow up in about 18 years all the way to being secure and independent. But even after 18, needs and desires can strongly color our perception of things. Another personal experience of mine was after my divorce. I encountered a lady and I fell very much in love with her. And in this time that I was very much in love with her, um, I really thought I needed to her and I wanted her. And at a certain point, my friends and my acquaintances started to tell me, well, don't you see she's just not good for you? Don't you see what's happening? And then at that moment, my only answer was, but I love her. Now, you may have experienced this yourself or experienced this with some of your friends in the family who've told you the same kind of, but I love her, but I need her. And of course, at that moment, love makes us blind, as the saying goes. It obscures our clear perception of what's actually going on. On to the third layer, the layer of loyalty. At a certain point, I think it was between 19 and 22 somewhere, um, I was at my uncle's house, and my uncle was delayed for some reason or another. And when he came in the door, he said, yeah, I've been in an accident, a car accident. And he went on to explain how two highways, meet each other and then diverge again. And at that point, he got into a small car accident. And I noticed that I and the rest of the family that was present automatically sided with him. And as we sided with him, we looked at the issue, what happened from that perspective. And after like a couple of minutes, he said, but I was in the wrong. It was my mistake. And at that moment, I noticed a very big shift, a wrenching feeling. I had somehow automatically sided with him. This is, of course, quite natural to side with the ones you love, your nuclear family or extended family. And in this case, it absolutely obscured my judgment, my vision of what's going on. Of course, with the shift, you know, I removed myself from the automatic loyalty. But loyalty is an important layer